Say hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our day.
Welcome to our day.
Good boy.
All day rock and roll.
That was the best. Book time. I'm doing it because Sophie's still making presents. Pick a number between 1 and 7.
Oh my gosh. 5.
The Little Mermaid it is. Put these ones aside for now. Please excuse the dyslexia moments. There will be some, no doubt. Down in the deepest ocean, there lived a mermaid princess named Ariel. She was the youngest daughter of King Triton, and she had the most beautiful singing voice in the whole kingdom. Her father loved Ariel dearly, but she was always getting into trouble. She longed to be part of the human world and spent her time exploring old shipwrecks with her friend Flounder. When Ariel was 16 years old, King Triton arranged for her to sing in a concert. Mer people come from all over the kingdom to hear her. That evening, however, Ariel was so busy exploring that she forgot all about the concert. She had found some human treasures and taken them to the surface to ask Scuttle the seagull about them. The Sea King feared for Ariel's safety and warned her to stay away from humans. Ariel tried to protest, but her father wouldn't listen. To make sure she obeyed him, King Triton ordered Ariel's music teacher Sebastian to keep an eye on her, but it wasn't an easy task for the worried crab. Isn't it a lobster?
No. I only know because
It has...
yeah, but in the second film, they are going to be cooking crab and he almost gets prepared.
Oh.
It does look like a lobster.
Yeah. One day, Sebastian followed Ariel and Flounder to the surface to watch a ship. The crew were celebrating the birthday of a handsome prince named Eric, and Ariel watched them in delight. Soon, storm clouds gathered overhead, huge waves wrecked the ship, and Eric was flung into the sea. Ariel swam quickly to the rescue and pulled him towards the shore. "Look, he's breathing," said Ariel. She gazed at Eric and fell in love. As she sang to him, his eyes began to open. But hearing a voice, Ariel slipped back into the water and hid behind a rock. She watched as Eric's servant led him away. When they were out of sight, Ariel swam home, vowing to be part of the human world one day. Sebastian had seen everything, and it was not long before the Sea King learnt that Ariel was in love with a human. Triton was very angry. He stormed into her secret grotto and destroyed all the beloved human treasures. Ariel was heartbroken. Then 2 sly-looking eels called Flotsam and Jetsam appeared. "We know someone who can make all your dreams come true," they hissed. "Ursula has great powers." "The Sea Witch?" gasped Ariel. She knew that Ursula was her father's worst enemy and had been banished from the kingdom many years before. Thinking that it was her only chance to win Prince Eric's love, Ariel swam away with the evil eels. Ursula greeted Ariel gleefully. "In exchange for your voice, I will turn you into a human for 3 days," she said. "If Eric hasn't given you the kiss of true love in that time, you will become a mermaid again and belong to me forever." A scroll appeared in Ursula's hand. She urged Ariel to sign it. Ariel was terrified, but she signed anyway. Thinking of Eric, a moment later, she was walking on the seashore, a human at last. Prince Eric had been searching everywhere for the girl with the beautiful voice who had rescued him. He had almost given up hope of finding her when he noticed someone sitting on a rock. This girl looked familiar, but when she found she couldn't speak, or maybe, but when he found she couldn't speak, Eric realised she wasn't the one. Feeling sorry for the voiceless girl, he led her back to the palace. The next day, Eric took Ariel on a tour of his kingdom. They enjoyed being together, and Ariel was sure the prince was falling in love with her. Later that afternoon, in a little boat on a lake, Eric leant forwards to kiss Ariel, but at that very moment the boat was overturned. The sea witch had been watching them, and fearing the plan was about to fail, she sent her precious eels to take action. Ursula disguised herself as a human woman. With Ariel's voice trapped in a seashell necklace, she made her way to the shore. She told Prince Eric her name was Vanessa, and soon had him under her spell. Eric led Vanessa to the palace and announced that they were to be married the following day. The wedding ship was to depart at sunset. Ariel and her friends watched in despair as the sun lowered in the sky. But Scuttle discovered who Vanessa really was and called on all the sea creatures to stop the wedding. Sebastian went to find the Sea King, and Flounder helped Ariel to get the wedding ship. Seabirds swooped down on Vanessa, a lobster pinched her nose, and dolphins sprayed her with water. In the chaos, Vanessa's necklace broke, and the beautiful voice inside flew back to its rightful owner. Released from the spell, Eric took Ariel in his arms. Just as he was about to kiss her, the sun sank below the horizon. Ariel was at once turned back into a mermaid. Ursula grabbed her and dived into the water. Her evil cackle echoed around the ship. "Ursula, stop!" thundered King Triton, rearing up in front of the sea witch. "Let her go." Yup. We're there. "No," cried Ursula. "She's mine now. You see, we made a deal. However, I might be willing to make an exchange for someone even better," she suggested. Triton felt he had no choice. He changed the signature on the scroll to his own and handed over his magic trident to the sea witch. "At last," Ursula cackled, "I am the ruler of the ocean." Just then, a sharp pain shot through her arm. Eric had speared her with a harpoon. The sea witch swelled with anger and towered above them. She summoned all the sea's power and stirred up a giant whirlpool, dragging up ancient shipwrecks from the seabed. Eric scrambled aboard one of the decks and reached the ship's steering wheel. Using all his might, he aimed the broken bow directly at Ursula. With a terrible scream, she disappeared under the sea. Triton's power was restored. He rose to the surface and saw Ariel gazing lovingly at Eric. "She really does love him," Triton murmured to Sebastian. "I suppose the only problem left is how much I would miss her." Then, with a flourish of his trident, the Sea King granted Ariel her dearest wish, to be human forever. Overjoyed, Eric and Ariel rushed into each other's arms. Ariel and Eric were married, and all their friends were invited to the wedding. King Triton gladly gave the couple his blessing, knowing they would live happily ever after.
Are you quite alright throughout that whole book?
My butt was in the air that whole time.
Yeah, I know, your tail still is. Cocomelon.
I tried so hard to focus on the story and what I was doing.
It was so difficult.
Her butt was just so high.
Pick a number between 1 and 6.
5.
Mulan. This will be hilarious.
Yeah, it will. Remember me.
Right, Dixie, last go for a minute, okay? Last go.
Right, let's get the dyslexia words up. Long ago, the Great Wall kept China safe from invaders, but one dark night, Shan Yu and his Han army attacked the wall and burnt the Chinese flag. Just a disclaimer, I will make the names sound how I want them to. The Chinese Imperial Guard lit fires to tell the rest of China what had happened. The Emperor decided that at last, one man from every family should join the Chinese army. One man be the difference between victory and defeat, he said. Mulan was worried about her father. She didn't think he was fit enough to fight. Women were not allowed to be soldiers, so Mulan disguised herself as a man to take her father's place. In the dead of night, she rode her horse, Khan, towards the Chinese army camp. By the time her family woke up, Mulan was long gone. Frightened for her safety, they prayed to the ancestors. Their prayers were answered, but instead of sending the great stone dragon to guide Mulan, as planned, the ancestors sent Mushu, a small dragon, and a lucky cricket named Cricky. Mushu and Cricky reached Mulan just outside the army camp. "I have been sent by your ancestors to guide you," roared Mushu. The glow of the campfire cast a large shadow of the tiny dragon. Mulan accepted his offer gladly. In the morning, she would report for duty. That morning, training begun under the watchful eye of the Emperor's royal advisor, Chifu. Shang, the general's son, trained the new recruits, including Mulan, who was disguised as a man named Ping. As part of training, Shang shot an arrow to the top of the tall pole. The trainees had two heavy bronze discs tied to their wrists, then had to climb the pole to retrieve the arrow. "One for discipline and one for strength," said Shang. Yep. Oh look, Great Wall of China.
Oh my god! Oh my god, you have to leave that in there. I'm shook. I'm so shook. Oh, I wish we'd seen if there was a seal one a minute ago.
There was a fish. There was a big whale. There was, yeah. I was gonna say it, but it just didn't happen. One after another, each recruit tried to reach the arrow, but they all failed. Shang was not impressed, but Mulan decided to try one last time. She slid down the pole once again, but then she had an idea. Looping the bronze discs together, she made a brace and hoisted herself all the way to the top. Everyone cheered. With Mulan's training going so well, Mushu began plotting to get her into the battle so she could become a hero. With Cricky's help, he composed a letter ordering Shang to lead the recruits to the Tung Shou Pass. They signed it from General Li and made sure Shang saw it as soon as possible. Led by Shang, the recruits arrived at the pass, where they were quickly attacked by Shang Yu and the Huns. As hordes of horsemen charged towards them, an idea spurred Mulan into action. She grabbed a cannon and lit the fuse, firing it directly at the mountain. Snow came crashing down and smothered the advancing Huns, including an angry Shan Yu, who just had time to slash at Mulan with his sword before he was buried in the snow. Why have I turned so British? Sword and buried. Sword and buried. The recruits celebrated, but Mulan had been burned. Nope. But Mulan had been hurt.
Speaking of burn, are you right for the back door on that one here?
Yep. As the medic dressed the wound, he discovered she was a woman and revealed her secret to everyone. Chi Fu charged Mulan with treason and ordered Shang to kill her. Shang raised his sword, but then threw it down. Mulan had saved his hand and everyone else's life with her quick thinking. "My debt is repaid," he said, then ordered the troops to move on without her. Mulan, Khan, Mushu and Kriki were huddled together by a fire when they heard a terrible howl. It was Shan Yu. He was alive and heading towards the Emperor's palace. Mulan jumped on Khan and rode on to the Emperor's city as quickly as possible. When she arrived, she found Shang and warned him about Shan Yu, but it was too late. The Huns had sneaked into the palace and were holding the Emperor hostage. Mulan came up with a plan. Bravely, she confronted Shan Yu in the palace. The pair fought furiously, ending up on the palace roof. As Shan Yu lunged at her, Mulan managed to pin his cloak to the roof. "Ready, Mushu?" she called. Kriki lit the fuse and Mushu attached to a rocket soared towards Shan Yu. The rocket tore through Shan Yu's coat and he fell into the fireworks tower, causing an enormous explosion that lit up the night sky. Shan Yu had been defeated. With the city saved, the Emperor approached Mulan. "I've heard a great deal about you, Mulan," he said. "You stole your father's armor, impersonated a soldier, dishonored the Chinese army, destroyed my palace, and saved us all." Then, to everyone's surprise, the Emperor bowed to Mulan. Stunned, the crowd followed his example. With a little help from Mushu, Mulan had become a hero and a leader. She had brought honor to her family in her own unique way. Boom.